Hey, so we are three whole school player here tonight. We just did the Tundra Wolves Challenge V, which is the biggest whole school tournament in Quebec, in Canada, and I gathered a lot of good player with me. I have two permanent resident of top 8. This is how I like to call them. I have Carl Rivet-Arnois from Montreal. Hi, Carl.
Hi, hi.
So, and with me, you probably heard about him in pre-modern mostly. Pat Burt from Ottawa.
Hey, Jason. Good to be here.
Yeah, good to hear. I'm Jason Keys from Ottawa, also host with the podcast Terrain Basique, which is in French. But for today, we do it in English. So, guys, how was your weekend?
Then went very poorly on my side. Didn't finish that high, and
yeah, second position is too low for you, huh?
Yeah, that's
if
it.
It's not first, it's not good.
I gotta say that the Montreal guys run a hell of a tournament. They're very excellent hosts. I thought the organizers had everything on point, and I was really impressed. As an organizer myself, I was really impressed with how smoothly things roll. I think you're kind of used to snags along the way, but either they played them off or they just kind of dealt with them quickly. They did an excellent job.
Yeah, it was a cool tournament. We had about 39 players, mostly from Quebec, but we had a crew from Ottawa, a crew from Toronto, a bunch of people from Boston, I think. Or
from across the border.
Yeah, and there was a guy who came straight from Cleveland. Do you have his name?
It was Pez and Holy, actually. So Pez and Holy came from oh no, that was Kyle. There was Kyle Wells. Pez came from I forget, but I know he picked up Rich Bork along the way. So there was this little delegation or one car of Americans coming up here.
Yeah, that's a lot.
Not to use the word convoy anymore, but
yeah, that's a lot of travel for a tournament.
We can't use that word, yeah.
We played in a bar, a local bar that's really cool. It's called l'adversaire, which means the opponent in French. It was the third time they hosted that tournament, and they really liked us. So I think it will become. It will happen again next year. So let's do a dive in the meta. Now, first, Pat. When it started, so the rule is Boreal, so it's 4 strip mine. Also, 4 maze of it is allowed. What did you think will be the before you came in? Like what was your expectation of what you will encounter as an opening?
So I actually
what did you expect?
Yeah, like there was someone asked that on the Facebook, and I think they were trying to figure out how they're going to sideboard. But my own personal thinking was because there would be a restriction on time, that there wouldn't be so many people on control decks. And I see Carl smiling a little bit. So because there weren't so many people on control decks, like I picked a deck specifically that preyed on the other decks and that would struggle against a control deck. So I expected there to be the mono black just because it's an accessible deck. I expected there to be the Lion, Dibs, and Bolt decks. And the counter burns, and I kind of expected those and a Tog kind of to be around, but I really didn't expect the deck or other permutations of the deck.
What about you, Cal?
Yeah, very similar. Montreal in general is a very aggressive metagame, like a lot of lions, a lot of hymns, a lot of trolls. So yeah, that's also what I'd expected. Given that we had a unlimited proxy rule, I also was expecting to see some workshops. But I was also expecting people to expect workshop and be prepared against workshop. So, which they were. So I'm very curious to hear what happened to you during that tournament, and
a lot of people told me before the tournament that this is what they expected. A lot of workshop.
Yeah,
they came prepared for it, and Pat Burt proved them wrong because he finished at third. We'll see his deck. First, we'll go. I just want to have a look at the top 4. So let me show you.
Before we go to the top 4, Jason, you want to touch on something real quick? I think one of the big things or the big misconceptions that people have about proxies is that, as soon as people see that you can print out whatever you want in whatever quantities that you want, there's this idea that people are going to sleeve up all the top tier decks. But when you look at the the organizers reporting, you look at the actual deck lists, like even if people were relatively close to what would be a popular deck, like you often saw like creative tweaks. And even, the deck shops, like all of those weren't like heavily represented. To Carl's point, like a lot of people stuck with the decks that they would have normally played anyway. And a lot of people didn't even opt to proxy. They kind of just stuck with the cards that they owned, and they were happy to, maybe they proxied a few power and stuff like that, but they generally kind of stuck with the cards that they had.
Yeah, this is really surprising. And I think the people want to play the card they own. It's kind of like, I don't know if it's pride or it's like they will proxy like 1 or 2 power, but not like the whole deck. This is quite like all the mono black deck. Nobody had a Zuzam.
Really? Okay.
They could have print Zuzam and put Zuzam, but no, it was black deck with Black Knight and Pump Knight. So yeah, you're right on that, Pat. Let's have a look. I want to have a quick look on the Maxime Bergeron, who came fourth. He called his deck the Derelov.
Yeah.
So this is what do we have here? We have like 4 Lion, 3 Pump Knight, 3 Serendib, the 2 Serangel, and 2 Derelor, which is like you have 4 black card in total, and then you have a suit of Lightning Bolt, 2 Chain Lightning, 2 Disenchant, the 2 Psionic Blast, Balance Wheel, all the power are there, 2 Tour, Fireball 1 time. So yeah, it's like Lion Dib Bolt, but with Derelor.
Yeah, Max is a very aggressive player in general. Like he likes to play aggro decks, and Derelor is like one of his pet cards. So always like brewing, trying to figure out what's the best aggro shell around that card. It's funny because today he sent me 2 other deck lists that he's working on that are also like Derelov lists, maybe like the evolution of that deck. So yeah, I mean, in general, he's like a very good aggro player, and
why does he
very aggressive list? It's like it shreds your face.
Why doesn't do? Why not 4 Serangel instead of 2 Serangel and 2 Derelor?
It's a good question.
You think it's just spice here?
No. Yeah,
or Derelor has really have an
advantage.
Yeah.
And how much is Derelor course? It's like a 4-drop, I think.
It's a 3 in the black.
Yeah. So I mean, it's not the same role on the curve, right? Like it's like 4 versus 5. So I'm pretty sure, like if you would see the deck put in a curve, like Max would have thought of that.
So yeah. This is interesting because it's actually close to what I would have played going in blind. So I've been also falling in love with Derelor exactly for the reasons that you mentioned. I've fallen out of favor with Serendibs. I'm usually putting in Trolls in that spot, which is more like a 4-drop than a 3-drop. But one of the main reasons I didn't kind of want to do this approach, and you're kind of seeing in his main, is the struggle against the game 1 on shops. I was his only loss, and I don't remember if I snagged game 1. He actually might have gotten game 1, but even if you look at the deck, you see that it struggles with answers. That the creatures are smaller, and the burn or the damage spells, the removal isn't as good. So he doesn't have swords in this list that I can see real quickly. So he's 2 for 1-ing, my
in the sideboard, right?
In the sideboard,
exactly.
2 swords.
So he's 2 for 1-ing game 1 Masuchis, and he's got just a 2 disenchants. So I think that's gonna set him back in that game 1. But like versus an average field, like versus basically everything else you could run into, like this is gonna do well, and it did.
It's interesting. I saw him play. It's not the first time he played that deck, and usually he put good score in the monthly. It's really brutal. Like the Pump Knight does wonder also. It's protection from black, and you can pump it. His mana base also, it's all over the place. Huh? It's 5 color. Is it 5 color? No, there's no green. But yeah, so. He told me he was never mana screwed the whole night, so I guess it worked out.
Yeah, I'm surprised.
Yeah.
It seems like a sketchy mana base, yeah.
That's what he told me.
He's not always that greedy, but yeah, it seems like this time it was pretty greedy, yeah.
Oh, this is really greedy. I mean, like four City of Brass,
Yeah.
Like it does damage every time. So he'd be like, I don't know. It's like I will not play that deck. I will not be comfortable to.
I think the orders are a little bit greedy. Just like I feel like the double pierce in white. It is a white based deck. Like when you look at the lands, like it is predominantly a white deck, and he doesn't get greedy with things like Rain Geyser and Control Magic.
Yeah.
I know that he did. Unfortunately, ran into trouble casting his Shatterstorm versus me. Because specifically of the double red.
The double red?
Right. He's got 8 sources plus the Mox. And that I think was that set him way back in that one match.
Cool.
Yeah,
cool.
In terms of redemption, I would say like his next version that he's working on will be a lot more consistent. And that's been like a conversation we're having about like let's try to splash black maybe, splash blue maybe, and like keep it mostly red.
Don't spoil it.
Yeah, I'm not spoiling it. There's a sweet tech in there that I'm not spoiling that I think is going to be very good. But more like he's been thinking about mana base, I would say.
Any last word on that before we go to the third one?
Yeah.
No, I like it. Well done, Max.
Cool, Max. Here we have a classic. No, I think it's a.
It's pretty close.
It's pretty close. Workshop deck. We have the form workshop for.
Yeah. So this one is I can speak to this one because it's my deck.
Yeah. Go ahead.
So this is largely based off the deck that Will McGran won the tournament in the first Boreal championship. So one of the things that I saw there for the first time was the main deck Armageddons, which I really like because it's kind of a way. Your atrocious matchup is the deck, and it's atrocious because you're staring down the full 4 disenchant, the full 4 swords, 3 divine offerings, probably sometimes an ashes to ashes, and it's not going to go well. So Armageddon is kind of a way to maybe steal that game 1. It also kind of gets you a little bit of game versus the combo decks that need, like mana flare and stuff like that just need a lot of mana to function. So there shouldn't be anything that's too weird in that apart from the Armageddon. But Carl, your take from it as an outsider.
Yeah, so is 2 Armageddon stuck nowadays? I thought like it was more like a one of, like you're really edging against against control for someone that control wouldn't be there.
It did rot in my hand a few times, but the thing is like it's basically if it's an aggro deck, it comes out. If it's a longer deck, it stays in. So like it's very black and white when it comes to sideboarding, which I quite like.
Can we see the sideboard?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah, so what's happening with the sideboard here? I think if I would have done it differently, I think Hercules let me down a little bit, and I think I would have swapped those for Sage of Platinums, just because I feel like with the disenchants, with the I think I'd be okay versus kind of artifact-based decks. I think the Sage of Latinams would hedge me or get me some points against the deck, which is, as I mentioned, a bit of a struggle.
Right.
So one of the few other things that's happening on the board is, library, usually not main in a shops deck. It's in the side for when you obviously win game 1 and are going to game 2. But the scrubland is also one of those things that, if you're expecting to go against energy fluxes, your scrubland is going to be better than a Mox Ruby and a Mox Emerald. But nothing else there should be that surprising.
That's like a punch. The Hercule, you use it to remove the thing in front of you, or it's to reset your...
So it's actually, there's a few reasons. So if someone Hercules you, you can send all the stuff back to your hand so you don't end up sacrificing a bunch of things. But if your opponent is on shops, it's a huge tempo swing. You're throwing everything into their board. Usually what's going to happen with shops is you're going to end up with a board stall. It doesn't make sense for you to keep just swinging Suchis into each other. So, eventually you Hercules into the Alpha Strike. And, as you know, with Triskelion, like it's hitting for 7 with the swing and then the 3.
So did you face the mirror today?
I faced no, I didn't. The only artifact heavy deck I faced, which was the one I lost to, was Brian Bogdan's Mana Surge deck.
Okay.
Those were long games, and Mana Surge,
I have it in on the screen right now. That's a red deck, right?
Yeah, Power Surge was a struggle because the one city I had was out, and workshop I can't pump workshop into my factory, so the games went long enough that I'm taking one a turn from my city of brass, and I'm having to use my icy to tap down my workshop so I don't take a damage from it. So
relic barrier
ouch.
is like incidental hate here for you, right?
And now I've seen that he has one earthquake. So I think one of the plays of the night was he earthquake 2 of my Suchis for 4, and he ended up doing 12 damage to me.
Ouch.
That's
5 mana.
brutal.
Yeah. And I see one on the board, but he had one. I think it was that was his game 1 versus me. I think he had that clutch earthquake.
Did you encounter any energy flux?
Derek Boyce had dropped one, but it had been way too late at that point. Like it was enough to, he dropped it, and I could pay for my trikes and go for the kill.
Too late. Well, that's a cool deck. Congratulations.
Oh, I feel a little bit ashamed by playing it, but I knew that the Montrealers were going to bring their A game.
Yeah. Everybody was expecting it. So
I have a title to defend, Jason. I know I didn't win the last one, but I won the Tundra Wolves Challenge 2 ago. And I came in the finals and faced the Guardian Beast himself, Francois.
Beast Island, yeah.
We'll go on the next one. It's a little spicy. So yeah, it's basically like the deck, but like the finisher is 4 Millstone and 4 Field of Dream, which all the card must be revealed on the top of the library. So how does that work, Carl? Could you explain it to us?
Yeah, so I piloted that. It's very similar to for those that play Modern, like Lantern Control used to be. So basically, the goal is to control the board, reach a point of the game where you're mostly in top deck mode, and you make them draw irrelevant cards. And yeah, it looks pretty similar to the deck, but I haven't been piloting the deck in the past. Like it plays very differently. You're not necessarily going on card advantage. You're mostly going on like card quality, I would say, or like the relevance of cards and how well they line into your answers. So yeah.
Yeah, because you see what's coming.
Yeah, exactly. And I would say you're better. The information benefits you mostly more than your opponent, because usually you're the control deck, and you can like know all you to line up your answers too. So,
do you think the deck work because you have access to 4 Maze of It?
I wasn't playing 4 Maze of It in the past, and it still worked, but it certainly helps. I think the card is underplayed, especially in 4-strip formats. People are not playing it, and I think it's an amazing card.
So I guess the question I have is, can you say it's like the deck, or can Jason say it's like the deck when there's, 22 cards that are, 20 cards that are different from the deck? Like we understand.
I don't think it's it's
like the obviously all the millstones, Field of Dreams. We got 8, 4 Maze of Ith, all the basics. I don't remember if the deck runs basics, but we're looking at like numerous cards that are different. So like, is this enough to be different from the deck?
There's no Mishra Factory.
And there's
no Mishra Factory, which I can discuss why. So you're not winning with damage in game 1, and I rather have good mana than a colorless land. Like you don't have any creatures, so as soon as you're gonna activate it, it's gonna get all the removal that is otherwise dead. And the goal of the deck is to make them draw dead cards. And if you have factories that are like colorless lands that you can't really activate because you want them to draw their removal, well, I'd rather have like a Maze of It or a mana producing land, especially like double blue is notoriously hard in old school anyway. So yeah, I don't know if it's correct, but yeah.
How many people did you mill out?
I lost game 1, I think. So I milled out everyone.
All right. Well, like, were they mostly concessions at that point, or did you actually get the mill?
Yeah. People they realize quite quickly once you have the luck online that they're not coming back. So
basically, like you bring the Serra Angel on game 2 always, most of the time?
Most of the time. Yeah, I wish the Millstone Field of Dream plan was good enough for sideboard games, but...
you pull it out?
Yeah, I pull it out, right? So
So it's a one trick.
Yeah, because people bring like red, they bring like red elemental blast, they bring like all their disenchant or energy flux, and I've tried to keep millstone in because I really like that play style, but it's just not optimal. You just rather like capitalize on the fact that they brought like a bunch of dead cards.
So it's millstone deck on game 1, and on game 2 it's the deck.
It's a big down, yeah. Yeah, but like game 2 and game 3, you're like switching around a little bit also. Like some of the games you keep like 3 millstone, 3 field dream, and you bring 2 Sarahs, plus you cut another card to bring the third one. So like depends. But yeah, I think until I figure out a way to keep the field dream millstone in post cyber games, it's gonna be like the Sarah swap.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, congratulations. I saw you goes, and it was awesome to see you beat people by milling them out.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
Yeah, one of the things that I wanted to play in that deck, and it's just not feasible, is Blood Moon. Blood Moon is pretty amazing with Field of Dream and Millstone, because like you reduce like the amount of relevant card by a lot. And during the tournament, I faced 2 Counterburn, and they both Blood Moon me on game 1, and
it did not
it made me win the game basically.
Oh yeah,
yeah, because like one of them Blood Moon me where they were having like 1 island, and I never let them draw the second one, and I let them draw like all the counter spells and the double boost stuff, and yeah, stuff like that. So I was capitalizing more on the Blood Moon than they were. So.
Well, what I like is like it's really like it's like top control, because you with Field of Dream you see what's coming in his deck. And like I faced that deck in another it's like something similar. It was Laurence Boulanger who was playing it, so I had to suffer through that deck, and it's really awful. Like you know, like you have a land coming, you don't want it, so and the other one will let you like, yeah, go ahead, draw your land, I don't care, and then as soon as you see a relevant card, nope, millstone. It's incredible play. It's pretty cool.
Have you thought about cutting the off-color moxes, or did you feel like the colorless was beneficial?
Yeah, I thought about it. Laurence is playing a version with black for him. I'm not convinced that like I think it's a bit greedy in terms of mana, but with 4 scrub lands and 4 under all C. So maybe I'm gonna go that way, but yeah, I could definitely see cutting off color Moxen, because you don't need a lot of mana in that deck. It's not as if like even the tome here, like it's like a single one-off tome. Like that I could be playing without tome in that deck. So it's weird because you don't really need mana once you have your lock online. You just need like enough to activate the millstone.
What matchup did you lose against?
I lost against Seb Dubé, which won the tournament. Yeah. So yeah.
That segues very well into the top deck.
Yeah, we have 7 minutes left, so let's take it. So this is a Seb Dubé deck, right?
Beautiful.
Yeah. Always like,
he call it the
experience.
12 bolt pixie. You have 4 Argosian. So he call it the metagame, the workshop deck. You run 4 Argosian pixies, the Hernam Jin, balance. You have all these bolts, lightning bolts, chain lightning, psionic blast. So amazing deck. 4 black buys in the main deck. We don't see that often. It's really punishing.
Mostly in tug decks, right? Yeah.
Huh?
Mostly in tug decks, you see it.
He doesn't run a tug. Does he run a tug? I think I have one a tug.
One tug. Yeah.
Is there one hiding underneath or beside the fireball? Is that?
Yeah.
Hiding
under a pile of snow.
Also, I think is the card beside the 3 Psionic Blasts. I keep thinking it's a flying man. I see flying there. I don't know. Is it a dib?
No. It's a dib.
It's a dib.
It's a dib. Okay.
Yeah.
I can see it all that well.
And
the art. Yeah.
The Argotine Pixie is kind of the card of the tournament for me. Pez, I also faced Pez, which also was like on some kind of like Armageddon with Pixies, and I was really surprised about that card. Like, it's very good.
The factory don't block it.
Scaling can't pop it. Like your only way as shops to get rid of it is your side. sideboard swords or your abysses. And I could see why someone would, thinking that they're going to go into shops or run into shops a lot, would then go the Pixies plan.
Yeah, and here it's like it's also like almost it's a burn deck. When I
it's a burn deck.
Game one, I had like assembled the luck with a very low life total, knowing that he had a fireball in hand, and it was very hard for me to navigate around the fireball and all of the top deck burn. Right, I was milling burn of the top, and there was like just more burn and more burn and more burn, and eventually got there. So yeah, again, a very, very aggressive deck.
You lost 1-2 or 0-2?
Oh, I lost both of them.
Both of them?
Yeah.
So and it was the Pixies that made the difference?
Not against me. Against me was mostly the burn, but I think it's a very good call for a metagame.
Yeah, it's a good blocker also against an artifact creature.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, I think that's about it. So if you enjoyed what we did, leave a comment and maybe we'll do more for upcoming tournament. Patrick, if we want to exchange with you, where we can find you?
I'm usually posting on the in the Canadian Discord. I like to talk about all sorts of things: decks, pictures, mail calls. Those are my favorite things to talk about. But I'm not. I've got an Instagram account, but don't worry about that.
Yeah, I'll put it in the comments anyway. And Carl, I know like you lurk also on the different Facebook group, I think.
Yeah. I'm mostly in, I would say, the pre-modern monthly scene, and yeah, the Discord also.
Excellent. Yeah. Well, I think that's about it. I wish you a good week, and maybe we'll do another one.
Yeah.
Bye-bye.
Thanks, Jason. Thanks, Carl.